Nice to see you all. Thank you so much for being in this session today, and thanks to the DDD crew who put on a great conference. I'm so stoked to be here. I'm really, really pumped. I'm going to stop walking along here and having my head shadowed. I can't help it, I strut, so it happens. So, welcome to my talk. First things first, my name is Patima. Hola. My Twitter handle is _Patima for anyone who'd like to stay in contact afterwards. Now, I'll try not to keep you up from or hold you up from lunch for too long here. I'm a starving Marvin. I get hangries and all the rest. But anyway, yes, that is a big-ass picture of me wearing a big-ass hat. Why, you might ask? Good question. Yeah, that's what's going through in your minds, right? It's happening. Well, yes, it's because I am a person who wears a lot of hats. For those who know me in the room already, there's a lot going on in my life. By day, I co-run a digital agency. I'm also part of conference organising teams, have organised meetups, national roadshows, things and stuff and that. And that seems like a fair bit because usually I would be doing that all at one time, thus the multiple hats. So I do get often asked the question, how do you find the time, how do you find the energy to do all of these things? And it's a great question, but pretty much it's just going about and, you know, finding the right balance to have the energy and the time to get shit done. Can I say shit? It's too late, I've done it. Okay, but really more importantly, it's, you know, about the productivity side of it. Looking at maximising your time for full productivity, but not burning out, because we're all at risk of it, because we're in this great industry and we love it, right? So we're doing our 9 to 5s if that's what we're doing, and then we're going home and probably smashing out the laptops on the couch again, doing weekend hack sessions because we love it. But where's the end to it? You know, we're connected 24/7, and you know, how am I doing it? Yeah, everyone's going to have that stuck in their head maybe later. I want to strut. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to get it out of my system. All right, we're doing it. So I actually wasn't born with time management skills or, you know, knowledge on how to balance my work life and all the things that I've been up to. It's been through training really good habits into place, and it's a bit of trial and error as well. And it comes down to balancing. And balancing means that you do need to make some careful decisions about how you actually distribute your time and what you say yes to and what you say no to. So it got me thinking to, you know, the work hard, rest and recover mentality that athletes have, or anyone with a profession that requires physical ability to perform their job role. So, you know, someone who is in that kind of role, they do need to continue the pace. So they need to be able to perform at their peak, you know, their peak level at all times to be able to function in their job role. And we kind of do the same here, but with our minds as our tool. That's our mind muscle. And in the athlete world, I'm pretty interested in fitness myself. So there is actually a thing called overtraining syndrome, OTS, as it's commonly referred to, and it's not too dissimilar to how we compare it to burning out in our industry. The definition of it is this, but it's literally the misbalance of rest and actually doing things, so rest and training, which leads to the physical detriment of that athlete or that, you know, whatever that profession might be. So you kind of imagine when an athlete is injured, well, they'll get benched and they'll recover and they'll get that chance to, you know, gain that energy back. But is it different? Is it so different to the mind? You know, what if our minds need that rest and that moment to recharge our energy bar as well? So this myth that I find, you know, that mind is not as important as the body when we're looking after our well-being. Who emoji to that? Not even the 3D one yet. So I'm saying that, yeah, our minds are, you know, our doing the hard work. They're doing the heavy lifting because in our profession we need to be firing and solving problems and just being fresh and at it. And being creative and all the things that are expected of us, and we're constantly learning, and it's taking a lot of energy. So yes, I'm saying that we're mind athletes. Yeah. So we have to look after these little noggins of ours because we need them to do our day-to-days, and we need them for our careers, and this is the industry that we're in. But it's not as simple, right, to measure how we're tracking with that. Like I mentioned with someone with a physical profession, look, if you're tired or you've injured something, you know, oh, my arm's broken, better stop. You don't really have so much of the same cues, when you're kind of dealing with how tired your mind might go, because we're always pushing through. We're always just keep going until that bug's solved. Oh, let's just skip lunch and just work through. Let's do an all-nighter, do what we need to do. But we can't really tell where that line of burnout is coming up. So we're not like Scott Pilgrims. We're not, we don't have our Mortal Kombat little power bars above our heads tell us when that's whittling down and we're getting to a point where we need to recharge again. So we really have to take this opportunity to be more proactive. And it does take discipline, it does take a bit of, change in that mindset, but it's for the long game. It's so that you can continue to race through and do the things that you need to do at sprint pace, as well as, jogging pace, as well as walking pace, as well as sitting pace when you need to. So time to be proactive. There's, I guess, a few scenarios that I've come across, and hopefully some of them will be common to you all. But if we can just cut through some of those with some actions of what is it that we actually want to do to be able to maximise our productivity, again remembering that we don't want to burn out. So I think there's 3 things as part of the formula towards productivity and getting shit done. 1 is improving focus, 2 is increasing energy, and 3 is keeping motivated. Now, each of those will have their tools and whatnot that you can put towards actually recharging those areas. But I suppose I'll just apply it in a practical sense with some scenarios that we might be in. So featuring, at this moment, some Patsisms. I may be known to just make up terms and words. It's fine, hoping that they're going to go mainstream. So, yeah, maybe some of these will catch on. So what do you think of dead grind? Deadlines every day, forever, always in your grill. It's always the way. And seemingly sometimes when you're just going and going and going, where's the end of it? There's always going to be a deadline. Honestly, there's just no getting out of it. In the industry that we're in, there's always something to be working towards. And as soon as you hit one milestone, you're going to be starting the next project, right? So a good balance, ideally, here are some suggestions of just resting and recovering and getting those energy surpluses back up again. And I know it sounds super simple, but a lot of people don't do it. I was guilty of this for ages until I actually had to program it in as part of a process for a project. Taking a pause and taking a break sounds wild, groundbreaking. But actually celebrating your wins at the end of hitting a milestone, and that's not just as an individual, but it's also being part of a team, right? You want to be able to give your co-workers as well a pat on the back and say, we did this, great. Let's reflect, let's have a look to see where we're at on the roadmap. You can also, as an individual, take that chance to reflect by getting that quiet time to just think, okay, where is that sitting with what I learned and what my career roadmap looks like? Not enough people do this at the end of milestones because there's always something else going on. But like I mentioned, it's really just about building it in as a habit. And to some, I've got this deadline coming up next week, I've got to do all-nighters. Yep, that stuff happens all the time. It's normal. Taking leave is not slacking off. You're entitled to your leave. If you have time in lieu banked up, take it rather than banking it up, because there's going to be a point where it's just all going to hit an end and you're going to think, yeah, I've been doing this for 10 years straight and better take that break. So in doing all of that, our motivation's restored, we're re-energised, and we're ready to focus again. So thinking of that energy bar that's building up, yeah? Okay, here's another Patsism. Let's see if this one works. off please. So really this is when you're just so tired. You're actually mentally and probably physically exhausted too. And a nap's just not going to cut it. Or, you know, I mean, I did have a nap pod under my desk for a while and that kind of helped. But it's, you know, what it kind of contributes to is things like you start getting lapses in your focus. You know, is there times where you've just been staring at your screen and just trying to push through it? And imagine if, you know, you're there for 3 hours, 4 hours later and you're like, oh, that little thing. But, you know, it's normal because we've lost focus. You know, you can't quite see as clearly at that point because your mind is exhausted. So that's a cue for you. Sometimes you get to this extreme, and if burnout were to have a face, this pretty thing, I think. Nothing against cats, but that one's a really quite feral one. Yeah. If you get to this point where you know that you need to break, or you're just going to crash, then trying not to get to that point is ideal. But either which way, it's about refueling. You're at a point where you've just reached a limit. You've worked yourself so hard, and we'll do that. I'm saying that this is what we do in our industry, and we just, you know, just forming those good habits to give yourself that chance to give your mind and body a rest. So again, programming that in or designing that into your day, really simple stuff. Scheduling the stretch breaks. At BAM, we've got 2 stretch breaks that happen daily. We queue it up with an automated song that happens at a certain time each day, and everyone gets up and does a little stretch. It's not just, you know, like a physical, you know, we're helping with our RSI and our back problems, because that's a problem too. But more so, I suppose what I mean by this is taking a chance to just take a break. It's scheduled in, so you're prioritising it, and you're giving your mind a break from that task at hand, resting your eyes, and, you know, just taking that moment to just deep breath. And that's okay. It just has to be a 5-minute break, you know. Get a drink of water or a tea, just go for a little walk. Getting sleep is obviously, I'm going to be I'm a bit of a hypocrite. There was a time where I was living off 4 hours of sleep a night, and that was perfectly all good. And I had, you know, I felt like I had a really good balance, and I was getting lots done, but it was just kind of withering away at my little pantry of energy. So that was diminishing, and then I just had one day like a 20-hour sleep. So that's probably not ideal, right? I was probably just working my body and my mind a bit too hard, and how was I even supposed to get anything done? Goodness knows. So better habits, again, we're all working on it. Avoiding hangritude. I get the hangries like there's no tomorrow, and not being able to focus on a task while you're hungry. I'm hungry right now. I'm sorry I'm keeping you from lunch. But sometimes it just makes it, you know, all the way harder. And at that moment, I'm saying let's be proactive. Let's have our breakfast to fuel us up so that our bodies have something to burn off, to create energy, to create mind power. Mind athletes, noggins. You know, that makes sense. But actually doing it, putting it into practice and making it a priority is your choice and completely up to you. I think it's a good move. So taking leave, again, that's a massive one. Just, I don't feel like a lot of people take enough breaks, and because they just keep on going, but the work's always going to be there. I promise you, it's always going to be there when you get back. So there we go. What we're doing there is, again, just refueling ourselves, getting our energy bar, you know, right up there. Which scorpion would you rather be? You know, the back punch, get over here. The one that's kicking ass, or the one that's going to be game over? Up to you. And all of this is us working towards avoiding inebriation. I quite like this one. And, you know, this is just to have a distraction-free kind of environment, and designing, again, this into your workflow, and being okay with going, okay, I need to put in the measures so that I can focus. Sam's talk touched on it earlier, where it was literally about going, okay, well, we have productivity tools that we can use and whatnot, but there's always going to be distractions, and Nathan's talked about it too, because knowing when you are most productive and working to those times. So working so you are most productive those times, and if you're not feeling it, just take a break. 2-minute distractions at work, who gets those all the time? You know, quick question. Oh, yeah, just quick question. Yeah, I've got 2 minutes. No worries. I'll answer that for you. But we do the math. There's never a 2-minute question, and there's never just the one that happens. Imagine if you get 10 a day. It's not uncommon in an agency world. It's 20 minutes. For a week, that's an hour and a half. Yeah, it keeps going. It's so 2-minute distractions where it's like, meh, bring it on, all of a sudden turns into you've just been completely taken off your task and you have gone into a time hole of losing that time. And yeah, well, that's not even mentioning the time it takes to get back into the task that you're working on after that distraction. Logical sense. So just to recap, spoke about focus and ways in which we can try and increase that, because that's one of the key ingredients, in my opinion, towards getting shit done. 2, energising, and keeping up that energy storage, because we need the energy to keep going. And 3, motivation. Motivation to actually get it done and having a purpose to it. And it's really hard to be motivated if you're burning out. So these are the 3 things that I believe will, lead to getting shit done and not burning out in the process. Let's do it. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks so much. Does anyone have any questions for me at all? Yes. Great question. So the question was, how do you lessen the impact of those 2-minute distractions? It's really about putting a big-ass no sign on your back, or whatever that might be in terms of communicating to your team to let them, or to let them know that you're about to focus or go into a sprint, and communicating that to them to say, okay, I'm not available for this time, and whatever the channels might be to communicate that, whether your team Slack, or letting them know that there's time that you've set aside, that whether that's 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. as a do not disturb time. But the key to it really is protecting your own time, and people will respect that if you allow them to know what you're thinking, rather than assuming that they know that you're in a zone. Headphones also help in an open plan office. They really do. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so the question over here was, you mentioned sleep, but did you mention exercise and going to the gym as well? I did not, but it's super important. I wanted to kind of focus on the, resting up your mind. But exercise, of course, and Sam's talk went through it in great depth as well, of scheduling time for yourself to actually re-energise as well. So that really is another part to restoring your energy surplus. Anyone else? I've got a question. What's for lunch? Cool. Thanks so much for listening, peeps.